Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Tom Clancy's The Division and Division 2. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and salutations. Today, it's Mind Over Dark Zone. Let's get to it. The changes to PvP and the Dark Zone are and can be very apparent between the original Division and Division 2. When you're looking at PvP encounters in the original Dark Zone, under the current conditions, Rogue 2.0, you can have these epic tales of two people fighting against each other, balancing and counterbalancing each other, and the power play can go back and forth for minutes. You have this kind of epic tale unfolding of how you overcame this other agent, whether you're rogue or the other player is rogue, and you end up having a lot invested in that fight. So it can go on for a while. It can end in a stalemate where one party or the other retreats. They can run away. It could be difficult to follow them. If you've got shock turrets, it does make it a little bit more difficult or a little bit easier to get away. So there's that. And like I said, you have a lot invested in that fight because the fight can last for a minute or more because of all the counterplay at work. You have heals, you have med kits, you have grenades and all kinds of different grenades, and you have all kinds of options available to you. And of course, face tanking, where you're out in the open, you're right on top of each other, trying to take each other out. Now in the Division 2, that changes quite a bit, and you can see the difference right away. Now, what does this all mean, and why did they make these changes? Well, I think the changes were made because of a change in thinking, or a change that they want to make in the psychology of the Dark Zone. So in the original Dark Zone, people were maybe a little bit apprehensive about going into the Dark Zone, and then you had other people that just owned the Dark Zone. So you had a group of 4 people, always manhunt, and it didn't seem like anyone could take them out unless you had a whole bunch of people grouped together to bring them down. And then they come back and they just do it again because they were able to successfully pull off several manhunts. Division 2, outside of the occupied Dark Zone, the regular Dark Zone. So when you don't have that much invested, when it is that easy to take someone out or for someone else to take you out, you don't have a lot invested into the fight, and the psychology behind it says that you're more likely to go back out and try again. This means, at least in the intermediate game, not the end game where everything is tweaked, that you have the ability to get the drop on someone and you're more likely to take them out because you got the surprise attack. Whereas Division 1, even if you got the drop on someone, they could counter it with a heal, they can counter it with a med kit, they could come back very, very easily from a surprise attack. So Division 2, very much more about the tactics. You go into the Dark Zone, maybe you're looking for a fight, maybe you're looking just for loot, maybe you're just looking to do some PvE, whatever the case may be, but you're not that invested in the amount of time that you put into it and the amount of time that you put into a PvP fight, that it is not that big of a deal. So the changes that they made are changes that they're wanting to make to the psychology of the Dark Zone, where maybe you can get really good loot, but it is not that difficult to dip in and dip out. It's a smaller area. There's less going on per se. There's not as many agents possible. There's at most 12 agents. That's including yourself. So if you're talking about groups of 4, that would be 3 groups of 4 running around maximum. Now, I think that was one of the disappointments for some people because they felt like they could never run into another group of players. Well, partially because there was no pulse in the beta, so it was a little bit more difficult to find people in the Dark Zone. And the other part of that is if you're trying to avoid conflict with other players, it should be relatively easy to do so. Now, they do make it a little bit different, a little bit easier to figure out what people are doing in the Dark Zone because landmarks get flagged as soon as you engage in the landmark. So it goes from purple to red. When you call on an extraction, everyone knows you're extracting, and it does pop up on the HUD. So you don't even have to look at the map. It automatically pops up as soon as you pop the flare. So there's a lot of indications on the map where people are at and what they're doing. So people that are engaging in landmarks, these other groups will instantly know. Whenever there's a group that is extracting, everyone will know that is in the Dark Zone. So people that are looking for PvP action can easily do so just by looking at the cues on the map. Extractions, who's engaged in a landmark where, that sort of thing. So it is easy to track down where people are at in the map, and it is easy to make these encounters work for you once you get a handle on the whole psychology of the encounter. Now, if you're doing PvE, then you know that you have to deal with waves of guys. You have to deal with some guys that are going to rush you, some guys that are not going to rush you. NPCs will take cover. They'll be a little bit smarter about how they attack you. They'll try to flank you. In terms of PvP, you're going to have people that are going to try to get the drop on you. So as soon as you look at your map, or if you're distracted in any way, or if you're not looking at them, they're going to go rogue and they're going to try to take you out. And because the time to kill is so much faster, because it is so much shorter than Division 1 and there isn't as much counterplay, you're going to get taken out if you're not paying attention, or you can take other players out if they're not paying attention. So to summarize, Massive made changes to the Dark Zone because in Division 1 you had this bigger investment in PvP battles in the Dark Zone. In Division 2, they wanted to change how people looked at it. Now, players that originally came and played Division 1 and you're going to Division 2 are going to notice the big differences, and they're going to still probably play the Dark Zone how they played Division 1, and it will take time for those changes to kind of solidify in terms of psychology. Gameplay, I'm sure it'll be very, very quick. You'll understand the changes in the gameplay and be able to do so. Because of the change in the overall psychology of the Dark Zone, they want people to be able to dip and go in and out of the Dark Zone and not feel like they have this huge commitment to it. You don't have this epic tale to weave. You just have a chapter of your story to go into. You go in there, look for some other agents to take out, or take out some landmarks, try to get some loot, get it extracted. Some of it is going to drop, doesn't have to be extracted, so you're always going to get rewarded for going into the Dark Zone and doing something. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to ring the bell before you leave to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. And thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and we'll see you next time.
Moving to a new fight. Got that division out. Thought that was a kill shot.